Thanks for tuning into the Market Wrap. I'm Niraj Shah, and with me will be Nickey Mirchandani. And it was not as bad a day of trade as people were fearing yesterday. I must say, the Dow futures and how at this point of time yesterday, everybody was worrying about what will happen on the next day, which is today. Somehow, because the Dow futures are doing what they're doing, I think we've done reasonably okay for ourselves. But I must say, there was a bit of selling midway through trade, which was a bit surprising. We'll get to that in a bit. First, the indices and what they've done today. The Nifty will come up on your screen first, and you will see that the headline number may look just a 0.5%, but it's fair degree of volatility in trade today. Now, what did well? Asian Paints continues to rock. So it went up another 3% in the session today. There was some strength in IT. In the morning today, we were talking about how Nifty IT had seen so much of selling. There was near some key support levels. And I think we've seen that little bit of buying from the support. I'm not saying this is conclusive, but it happened. And I think in Kotak Bank, Adani Green, and Muthoot Finance, we saw those MSCI linked names actually do well. What didn't do well? Autos corrected a bit. Hero, M&M, Tata Motors, all of them had a bit of a lull day. L&T and Titan, result reaction. So both of them did what they did. And somewhere, some of the PSUs, the likes of NTPC, ONGC and others, corrected a bit in trade. So that was the sum and substance of what happened on the index. But Nickey, come in and tell us about that one stock which stood out in trade for you in the session in the large cap space.
Clearly, L&T, even after the brokerages said that they gave a thumbs up to the kind of earning that came in from L&T, prima facie, it looked like they were a decent set of numbers. The order inflow, although was, YOY growth decline was the first time that the company witnessed since Q1 FY17. But nevertheless, on the face of it looked like it's a pandemic situation, and the company performing this way, it's still like a positive thing, at least like for L&T. Most of the brokerages gave a thumbs up. But what actually was underwhelming was the kind of special dividend which was allocated, rupees 18 as compared to the expectation of rupees 35. That's where the disappointment crept in. But then the major cause of concern was clearly the working capital issue. There was a lot of, in fact, if you see, much of the beating came on the stock after, in the second hour of the trade, or in the second half of the trade when the con call was held. There, the management kind of clarified that they're allocating more capital towards the non-core businesses compared to the core business, which is IT revenue, from where that segment is coming in. Because of which you saw the whole working capital issues lingering around, and the stock taking a big beating, 5.5% for a heavyweight like L&T. That was the cause of concern. And also the pressing issue for this company at this point of time is the capital concerns going by Nomura is expected to only rise going further, because they're going to be allocating much of to one of the big projects that is coming in, because of which also there is some amount of pressure mounting in on the financials. The ROEs are expected to be depressed, because of which you saw that amount of profit booking coming in for L&T. But then, Niraj, I'm going to quickly come back to you and ask you about how mid-cap space is performing.
Yeah, I think the result reactions probably made up for a large portion of the move, and I'm sure Nickey will speak about all of those individually. But let me just quickly mark the MOV function on the Bloomberg terminal, which kind of shows you two things. One, the market breadth, which looked wobbly today, 163 advancing to about 336, declining on the Nifty 500, and again, not unexpected. And again, look at the kind of losers and the kind of cuts that came to the losers. So Strides intraday was down about 13%, ended 10% lower, but was in the green and then ended in the red. GE Power, something that Nickey highlighted yesterday, down another 8.5%. And there was weakness in a bunch of other names as well. Piramal had some reasons to itself. JK Tyre had some reasons to itself. Polyplex continuing to grind lower. Shilpa Medicare, since it's gotten that US FDA issue, is continuing to head lower. So I think there are a bunch of names which corrected. What did well? Well, Navin Fluorine, I think result reaction maybe. Adani Green continues to rise and shine. Some strength for NHPCL in the session today. Berger Paint continues to move well. It's up at 3% higher. So today the paint companies did well. But all in all, a tepid market breadth, and which is a bit of a disappointment. But Nickey, again, I'll come back to you and ask you what stood out in terms of the broader end of the spectrum.
Yeah, Navin Fluorine the Q2 results was a beat on all the aspects. Look at the EBITDA margin, the gross margin saw an expansion. At this point of time, there was a Dollard Capital Research which came in and said that the EBITDA margins have seen an expansion of around 182 basis points, and the contribution from CRAMS has been much higher on year-on-year basis, and that business division as a whole has started picking up, and with this they're expecting to deliver a higher growth than anticipated in FY21, clearly on account of which you saw that huge uptick coming in on Navin Fluorine. What also did well was Pidilite Industries. In the early part of the day, there was an announcement that the board has approved a definite agreement with Huntsman Corporation. That's one of the US entity that they have. That's for a consideration of 2,100 crore. The transaction at that point of time doesn't require any government approval. And is expected to be completed in a span of next few days. So that's pretty clear, announcement there. And Motilal Oswal quickly came right after that. There was a note that 5 times sales, then the acquisition or the deal value is rather attractive. And at this point of time, USA this company that they're going to be acquiring is amongst the top 3 banks that they have in the business division. There is a good product which is an offering, and the collaboration or the synergy effects would be actually auguring well for this counter, on account of which you saw some amount of significant uptake coming in even for Pidilite Industries and Adani Green. Niraj, as you just mentioned, it's the third consecutive session of rally coming in for Adani Green. In fact, it's been locked in the upper circuit limit for third consecutive session. 15% gains odd for this counter, and the earning announcement is scheduled on November 4th. So, people shouldn't be much surprised given that Adani Green has rather than done well in the previous quarter and this quarter too. Given by what the stock has been doing, people are anticipating good set of numbers coming in on November 4th. But then, Niraj, anything that you're watching out for the week, just like a Friday, anything else that you're picking up?
No, I mean, I'm sure you have some data on the global cues to watch out for, Nikki. Particularly watching out in tomorrow's session for Reliance Industries. The numbers come out post-market hours, and for a stock that's been beaten down so badly in the last few days, I think a good set of numbers might just be the balm that Reliance Industries requires. So let's wait and watch if that happens or not. What about the global front, Nikki?
At this point of time, the setup is pretty positive. Even the European market is trading positive. And last time that I checked, Nasdaq was in green, indicating to a positive start coming in for Wall Street. It's at this point of time. Look at the European market trend; it's up almost 0.2 to 0.3% out there. Couple of things that we like to watch out from the global fronts will be the strong results coming in from fat stocks that may be actually that may aid the market sentiment, and ECB that's likely to focus on the stimulus measures as lockdown returns. So that's going to be key area that most of the investors would be looking forward, because there are a lot of global jitters right now which have been also sensed on the Indian equity markets, and of course the pending talk that the US elections is underway, that will also have some amount of bearing coming in for market. But with this, it's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching.